This is the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now, your hosts, Rich Post, John Wallace, Mike Mallet, and Chris Marquardt.
There we go. How about that?
Hey.
Welcome back.
Yes. Yes, I'm Chris Marquardt. Joining me on this edition of the 31st Lap, we've got Rich Post, we've got John Bomas.
Yo.
Mike has the night off. He is getting ready to head off to Baltimore. Got some racing to do
indoor
this weekend. Yeah,
little
racing indoors. Good
TQ
for him.
midgets.
You going with him?
I'm heading out with him, yep. He talked about, I haven't talked to him since we did the show last Thursday, but at that time he was mentioning leaving Friday night, tomorrow night, 5 o'clock, so. Somewhere around that time, we should be on the road to Baltimore.
Do you have a ride?
I wish.
You don't have a ride waiting for you?
No,
I wish.
Not taking the suit and helmet?
Actually, no offense to Lenny Salmons. I'd rather have a ride waiting for me in Tulsa.
I'll take one anywhere. I don't care where. I don't care what it's in.
That's like a dream one day. I ever win the lottery. My ass is going racing in Tulsa.
You gonna take the
Everybody's
rest
got
of
$1
your,
and a dream, and that's mine.
You gonna take the rest of you or just your ass?
Whatever's still intact.
Just leave your brains at home because they won't be necessary.
No.
Well, how about that?
Yeah, we're gonna digress right out of the box.
Don't worry, John. Ken's listening. He's here.
Nice.
He's your number one fan, sort of.
Good.
We got tonight. We're coming to you from the lavish FingerLakes1.com studios in Seneca Falls. A little bit of a flat start. We'll try and pick this thing up as we go through the evening. We're streaming live on FingerLakes1.com. Follow the links to see the show as it happens. We've got a full show on deck tonight. We got NASCAR driver Kevin LePage on the program, along with if everything pans out, we might have Brett Hearn. We're not really sure where that's all going to come together. That noise you heard in the background was Rich operating his Gatorade bottle over there. Snowball Derby winner from down in Pensacola, Florida.
Eric Jones.
Eric Jones is going to be joining us on the show. 16-year-old held off Kyle Busch to pick up the win down there.
You know, it's
it'll
funny.
Be an interesting story to catch up with on him.
It's funny. All the headlines have said, since last weekend when he won, that he held off Kyle Busch. But I don't know if anybody noticed. Kyle Busch didn't even finish second. He finished third in the Snowball Derby. But yeah, all the headlines read that he held off Kyle Busch, but there was somebody else in front of Kyle Busch too.
Well, apparently, I'm not going to take a shot at whoever it was that finished there in second, but apparently it wasn't somebody. Otherwise, they'd have been calling him out as who.
Well,
Eric
as
Jones
you're saying,
beat.
I'm trying to remember who it was. I wish I could remember.
If I had reception here, I
looked
could
at
pull
the
it up on
results.
the smartphone, but I don't have reception.
I looked at the results and I can't remember who it was. I know Kyle finished third though. I just found it odd that all the headlines that I read all week said that Eric Jones holds off Kyle Busch to win the Snowball Derby, but yet Kyle finished third. That's not like he was behind him.
If Kyle finished 10th, he still held off Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I don't know.
Kyle was in the field and Kyle didn't beat him.
It's a weird headline. That's all.
That's racing. That's how it goes, man.
Kyle wasn't the only NASCAR racer in there.
No, there were several.
David Reagan finished 7th in the race. Johanna Long, who had won the race a couple of years ago, NASCAR truck racer or nationwide racer, she was in the race too. I think she finished 11th or something. So
now that we got everything reset too, we had to go through and make some adjustments to the cameras there. We encountered some difficulties.
You got everything straightened out?
Set up. Yeah, we didn't want to be too late, but it's part of the game. We got everything up and running now. We're going to be getting Kevin LePage on the phone probably right around 7:30. Right off the top, we've already got questions pouring in first. Above all, everybody wants to know what the Snowball Derby is. Apparently, not everybody follows it as close as John does.
It is one of America's oldest, most prestigious short track races,
and it's preceded by a snowflake derby.
Yes,
the day before.
Yes, it is. Which is a lower class division. I'm not sure what the Snowflake division is. The Snowball Derby is for pavement late model stock car type of cars. And it's similar to like an old ASA style car.
And it's there's a lot of pretty prestigious entrants year.
They draw a big field every year. This was the 45th running. It's been this race. I've known about this race for many, many years.
Gary Balough's won this race twice.
Yeah, Gary Balough has won it a couple of times. Darrell Waltrip has won it. Donnie, Allison, Rich Bickle, Rick Crawford, Bobby Gill. A lot of your big-time short track racers. Rusty Wallace tried to win it for years. Me being a Rusty Wallace fan for 20 years of his career, I followed him way back when he used to run ASA before he ran NASCAR. And, at that time he was trying to win the Snowball Derby for several years and never could do it. It's funny, his kid Steven won it in 2004. So
yeah, and
it's a pretty prestigious race.
And at this point in the season, any place they're racing on, whatever surface it is with whatever car, is a bonus.
Yep.
I mean, there's not a whole lot of it going on right now.
Yeah, and for those that don't know about the Snowball Derby, it's at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. And it's held every year, this time of year. And it's about the only race, at that time, it's about the only race going on in the country, or one of the very few races.
One of the few, yeah.
So it draws pretty good names.
Mike's joining us online, so we're going to say a quick hi to Mike. He's got a ton of stuff going on at home. He's got some close friends that are in the hospital over there. He's been helping out with their kids, and he's also trying to juggle the trip out to Baltimore. So best wishes to Mike, and we hope everybody gets through that in one piece. And we're thinking of you, and by all means enjoy that trip down to Baltimore and travel safe and endure John the best you can. That's one thing that Ken is really looking forward to.
I'm the best thing that
not
happened to him.
Not having John in New York State. That's
it's not just Ken. It's okay.
Wow. Hey, that was.
I still love you, John. It's okay.
That's all right.
How's work been over there, huh?
I'm just coming off of 7 straight nights. I'm very tired, actually.
Wow, that's rough.
I'm tired, and I've been home for 7 straight nights. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I have not. But it's nice to have a night off. I'm off the next 4 nights because of going to Baltimore. I told them I couldn't work this weekend, and they didn't schedule me tonight, so I got the next 4 nights off. I don't have to go in until Monday night. So,
well, that's nice.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to.
That's cool.
Sleep in my own. Well, I mean, I sleep in my own bed, but it's during the day. I haven't seen daylight, and I don't even remember when. I get home, it's the sun's coming up, so I go to bed. I get up, it's dark.
That's tough. I did that for a stint, and
you walked right into that. Now everybody online is killing you. I wish you could see this chat.
What now? What now?
I don't think it matters, John.
Actually, it was Mike. He said, "Suck it up. We got a 6-hour ride."
I will be sucking it up.
Yeah, Miller Lite.
Sonny's already brought that up too.
That's right. I'll be enjoying some Miller Lights this weekend.
That's one of the things I love about this.
That's a guarantee.
Is all this chat and chatter. We got 25 people hanging out with us already. We got a little bit of a delayed start, but we got everybody in house again. We're going to be catching up with Kevin LePage here in a little while. Scheduled to be on the program, Brett Hearn. We haven't been able to contact and confirm again through the course of today. We did have him lined up. We talked to Rolf. Everything was supposed to be a go, so we'll have to see how that comes together. And then, as we mentioned, we're going to be catching up with Eric Jones at the bottom of the program. This is an unfortunate week for Mike to be off. There's a Syracuse game this evening, so
yes,
Upstate Hoops isn't going to go on until 10:15. So we have all the time that we need.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh, didn't know that.
So yeah, I found that out today.
Oh.
And
good
unfortunately,
thing I don't have to work then.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we've got all the time we need.
We've got ample.
We've got ample time, and,
nice.
And the thing is I think that we can probably keep this one short. There's not a whole lot going on. We want to have as much time as we can next week, though, when Mike and John get back from Baltimore, and they can give us a full recap of everything going on with that indoor race, all those TQ midgets. John, have you seen the TQs indoors before?
Yes, I've been to Niagara Falls twice when they used to run there. I've never been to Atlantic City. I've not gone to Rhode Island either, so this will be my third venture as far as a TQ indoor midget race. Plenty of indoor experience, obviously going to the Chili Bowl from, for 8 years straight. So got a lot of indoor experience. But
you're gonna have to go on Wharton's comp if you hurt your elbow.
If I hurt my elbow,
patting yourself on the back like that.
You asked. What do you mean, Pat? Did he not ask? Jesus Christ.
He ain't gonna help you.
Are you going? Are you going to the Chili Bowl again
Good
this year?
grief. I wish I was.
You're not going to go?
It's not looking good.
No.
Unless I win the lottery from now on, then I don't think it's going to happen.
Well,
I didn't win the Powerball, so.
No. How about that? you imagine pulling that down?
Jesus. 580 million or whatever the hell it was.
I don't know if I'd be here tonight.
Yeah.
And I'd have a legitimate excuse.
I did win $4 on it, though. I spent 20 to get the 4.
Yeah, you spent 20 to get the 4. I spent 6. I won 4, and I threw the ticket away. I was so pissed off.
You dummy.
Who cares?
$4 is $4.
I still lost 2 in the long run.
I'd tell you it would be a $4 could be 2 packages of hose, but they don't make them anymore.
I prefer Twinkies anyway. And I got to be honest with you, I had already spent probably half, 3/4 of that without even batting an eyelash. It was gone. I knew right where I was going right when I got that check.
I do have a little bit of Chili Bowl news I have seen the last couple of days. This time of year, this is the time where speculation of who's driving what starts to happen. The entry list should be coming out any day now. It's typically like right around the first week of
December. And it's typically 500 lines long.
It's typically like first week of December the entry list is released. I've been checking a few times today. I still haven't seen it. So it should be coming out anytime. I know the Chili Bowl office, they've got a booth set up at the IMUS show. So I imagine probably when they get back from that this weekend that you'll probably see it first part of next week, I'm guessing.
What's the Chili Bowl news?
There's Billy Pouch Jr. posted on his fan page on Facebook that he picked up a ride in a Larry Gardner 35, which is an Indiana-based car. I read today that it looks like McCready is going back. He skipped last year to get the late model program turned around. You know, the last 2 years that he ran his own car. He bought his own midget. Well, apparently he's not taking that. He's picked up a ride in the Andy Bondio 47, which anybody that is, you know, up on their Chili Bowl stuff knows that the Andy Bondio 47s, there's a pair of them, are very, very, very potent rides. As a car owner, Andy Bondio has won the Chili Bowl 3 times, so twice with Corey Kruisman and once with Leland McSpadden. Builds his own stuff, so he's got 2 cars that he takes, and they're the only 2 like it because Andy Bondio, he's out of California. He builds all his own chassis and different creations. He always has different. He's the one. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the photos of J.J. Yaley or Corey Kruisman from years past at the Chili Bowl.
Oh yeah, I got posters
with the left front motorcycle wheel.
Yep.
If you've ever seen a picture of that car, that's the Andy Bondio 47. And there's a 47, there's a 47X. Damian Gardner is driving one, it was announced, and McCready's driving the other.
Good for Timmy.
And, you know, McCready, of course, being the 06 winner of the Chili Bowl, and Damian Gardner won the next year in 07. So they're...
did they already make the check out to one of the Swindells?
2 former winners are driving...
damn close, they wrote the last
cars.
name.
And the Keith Coon... I read that the Keith Coon stable...
That's going to be a pretty potent little team.
Keith Coon stable,
Kyle Larson, Ricky Abreu,
Rico Abreu, Christopher Bell, and Jason Myers. Right now, that's the tentative lineup for Keith Coons and his stable. But typically, he'll end up having that's 4 drivers, but he'll end up
have 6 or 7
cars usually. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple more be announced for his stable because again, Keith Coons builds his own chassis, the Bullet chassis, and it's sponsored by Toyota, all Toyota powered. And
I was impressed, actually. The Chili Bowl came out with a Twitter account.
Yes, they did.
That was new
last week.
That was new last week.
Yeah.
I was flipping through. I said, "Oh, wow, look at that."
Yep.
Hopefully, they've got somebody with some pretty quick fingers to keep up with the nonsense that goes on throughout the week down there. I mean, I do not envy whoever gets that duty.
Yeah, you got to pack. You got to pack the Chili Bowl's alphabet soup into 140 characters.
Good, not happening. I mean, that's going to be. I can't imagine reading that Twitter feed. You know, from throughout the alphabet soup.
Just being the one to have to key it in.
Yeah, I mean, and just being the one that's got to sit down and read it and find out what's you're going to have a board full of Chili Bowl results.
John's going to be on it.
That Saturday of Chili Bowl week, the finale, that is my favorite day in racing. I know, like Mike has his favorite day of racing. That is my favorite.
I wish they'd televise it
of the entire.
Sonny just
week.
said that too.
Watching that alphabet soup is just amazing.
Anytime you put that many midgets on such a small surface and you're just jamming race, after race, after race, after race.
They
down people's throat.
They start at noon and they go all day, right well into the night before they're done. And
you got a favorite race day? You got a favorite race weekend or race day? What is it?
Yeah.
Echo in this.
Anytime I'm allowed to get in a car, that's my favorite.
Wow.
If somebody says, "Hey, I'll let you drive," and we actually get the ass in the seat, that's my favorite. But I'm still kind of partial to Super Dirt Week, despite the argument back and forth of how good the racing actually is.
Right.
I enjoy the strategy, being that it's my modifieds. It's the local guys from the Northeast. That's that's where my heart lies. If I had to pick, and I've never been to the Chili Bowl, if I had to pick something that was the best racing, I'd probably want to visit that, and at least once before I'm dead again on my bucket list. But anytime, like I just said, anytime you jam that many races with that many legitimate racing names,
they start out the week with approximately 275 drivers. It's where it's been the last few years.
But again, I've never been to it, so I'm sticking with my Super Dirt Week as and I call it Super Dirt Week, and it's not just at Syracuse. That's the whole week. Satellite shows the whole 9 yards. You see a lot of real good racing.
Oh yeah.
But you have a single day. I mean, the Chili Bowl is packed into what, 3 days?
No, it's 5.
Is it 5?
Yeah. Starts on Tuesday. Well, Monday there's no racing, but it's an all-day practice day.
Right.
They load the haulers, all move into the building. They move into the building on Sunday, all-day practice on Monday, and then Tuesday is the first qualifying night. Qualifying nights are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturdays when they run the alphabet soup, all the mains. And
if I had to pick a single day, Chris, I'd go with opening day at Canandaigua every year.
Opening day at Canandaigua?
Regardless, it's in my backyard. So if the racing's not all that grand or we have a weather issue, I'm 5 minutes away. I can be home and back, and it's always nice when they open for a season. So.
Oh yeah, anytime your favorite track or your home
we got to be coming up.
Opens up, it's exciting.
We're coming up on that interview at the top of the year with Jeremy Corcoran with all sorts of information that's supposed to be released on the 31st lap.
Yeah, he. I think he's. I'm pretty sure he's not married to the date that he's announced. I'm pretty sure he hasn't really hooked into being exactly that date. I think he's kind of waiting to see what some other schedules play out with. But rolling over here the first of the year, hopefully we can
see all the
we can hold him down to lock in some stuff in here right here on the show.
Just released like today or yesterday all three USAC series, the midgets, sprints, and Silver Crown schedules were released for next year, and the 2013 World of Outlaw sprint car schedule was released.
How many of them are you gonna make?
I don't know. I don't.
None. They have wings.
I don't get to too many wing sprint car races. A couple a year probably, but you know me, I'm more about wingless.
That is true. That is very true. A little bit later on,
I love all dirt track racing, and I love sprint car racing, winged or non-winged. But if I had to choose on the same day, one over the other, you give me the non-wing anytime.
Why is it so hard for the non-wing stuff to break in up here?
It's just because it's not prevalent. If it were prevalent, then it'd be a different story. I don't know. It's different parts of the country. It's different things. I mean, why do we not care about UMP/IMCA style modifieds here like they do in the Midwest? They're huge.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I mean, they're everywhere in the Midwest. We don't care about them here.
There's a lot of different restrictions.
There's the different regions enjoy different things. You go out to California, and it's all sprint car, both wing and non-wing. More so, I think, than non-wing when you get out on the West Coast. Obviously, Indiana is all, non-wing and late model stuff in Indiana, and just it depends on your region. Here, we're born and bred on modifieds, and that's the way it's always stayed. And when it's not modified, it's a wing sprint car.
Which would seem that it would open up the door for the IMCAs to break in more with more force than they have so far. I mean, you've seen more tracks pick it up. Black Rock has them. Brewerton's traditionally had them up here. I think Fulton's had them in the past. But
Fonda used to. They dropped them.
Fonda did?
Yeah, they dropped them a couple years ago.
Ken's theory is that the state of Pennsylvania acts as a buffer zone for the wingless stuff because it's so prevalent with the winged stuff in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, they're all sprint cars down there, and most of the region in Pennsylvania. There's a small portion of modified.
Do you want to try try that setup there, or do you want to hang on to it? It's up to you.
Hang on to it.
Okay.
What we're doing with that.
All right.
Most of the PA's covered in sprint car racing, but they're all programmed for wings. Those people are so programmed watching the wing stuff, they take the wings off, and they're like, "What are you doing?" It's just not. You go to Indiana, you put the wings on, they're like, "What are you doing?" It depends on what your region is and what has always been there. We're born and bred around modifieds. That's what we love. But, I like to venture out and see everything. I like all motorsports. It doesn't really matter what it is. There are certain things I prefer over others, but it doesn't mean I don't like the others,
Right.
I love drag racing. Drag racing's awesome, but
yeah, drag racing doesn't get the love that it should.
No,
I don't think.
It's grown in popularity a lot the last few years with ESPN doing their coverage every week, live coverage of the NHRA Powerade or whatever they call it now, full throttle drags and all that. But it still isn't. It's not at the level of like a NASCAR or things like that.
Joining us on the line, NASCAR regular Kevin LePage. Kevin, welcome to the 31st lap.
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
We're doing all right. Just want to, first above all, say thanks for taking some time out and coming and hanging out with us a little bit. You heard a little bit of the conversation about wingless midgets and wingless sprint cars and stuff like that. You got any thoughts on those? Do you get into sprint cars at all, or any dirt track racing aside of your work with the NASCAR series?
Well, it's funny you ask. This summer I went to Knoxville when I was in Iowa for the first time to see a live dirt race. Watch it on TV years ago when I was sponsored by Channel Lock. Channel Lock also sponsored Sammy Swindell. So, I watched it, but to see one in person, it took me till this year to actually go see one. So I really had a great time in Knoxville, and kind of stirred up my interest a little bit more to pay more attention to what goes on dirt. Anyway,
was that during the Nationals week or just a regular Saturday?
It was the week before. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
It still was a nice little show. I got a chance to walk through the garage area and get introduced to some different drivers and their parents, and it just reminded me of when I was in Vermont racing with my dad and mom, going to the races. It was just Saturday night racing and pickup truck and a couple trailers and some cars and some pickup people and just a good little show.
When you first saw Knoxville Raceway, what was your impression? I've been there once for the Nationals. That place is awesome when you first see it.
Yeah, it's just it's just unique. The biggest thing that I was impressed of was the scoreboard, where when they did hot laps and stuff, you could watch every car go by the start finish line, and their time would show up. And It was just kind of cool. For I didn't have a stopwatch. I didn't know who was driving. Until I got the book out, and I could see the lap times, and it was just a really cool experience. The museum was awesome, and just the whole experience was a great night for me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You ever thought about hopping inside one of those things?
No, I'm a full body car. Grew up in NASCAR full body cars in Vermont, and just never had any interest to do anything that has a potential to flip. I would say. Not that our cars can't flip, but I watched the Nashville, or at Knoxville, and there was a couple guys that went end for end. So I just really don't have any interest doing that.
Well, the Camping World Truck Series is going to be on the dirt in Eldora. Is that something that you're at least going to get some time to set aside and go check that out?
I don't know. I hadn't looked at the schedule to see if we're racing that weekend or not in the Nationwide Series, but definitely it'll be on TV. So I'll definitely tune in to see how it goes. The Truck Series is a really unique series, and for them to go back to the grassroots basically of dirt track racing, it should be a very exciting weekend there.
That truck race is leading up to you guys racing at the Brickyard. The truck race is on Wednesday night. You guys are at the Brickyard that weekend.
Well, if logistically, it can be put together, I'd like to go over and watch it. Because I think that first of all, I think it's going to be a packed house, and second of all, I think the trucks will put on a good show there.
Yeah, it's going to be a madhouse.
Speaking of that, what have you got planned for 2013? What's in the cards? What are you guys looking to do?
Well, I finished the year out this year with the number 86 DRG Motorsports team, and we raced a few races. We did some start and parks this year, just trying to get built, get a notebook ready for 2013, and right now the owners and the marketing department are working feverishly trying to get sponsorships, and we have part of our program. We have a couple K&N teams that we started one late last year with a driver, and then we have another young driver I believe is coming over. So we'll have two K&N teams, and it looks like right now, from what they told me last week, that we got at least half the season sold. So we'll definitely start the season and run the first 5 races and see where we are in the point standings. And but hopefully between now and when the season starts, we can sell the rest of it so we can race every week.
How tough a sell is it to try and put together a team to compete for a full season?
It's very tough. I mean, we actually we were in the running with a major company throughout the last 3 months, and we ended up losing it to a big team. We knew it was a battle, and but at the end of the day, we were very fortunate that the company was even considering us, and I think a lot of it has to do with my years of experience, my years of NASCAR, and I'm not going to say I'm a household name, but I'm a name that if you were to mention it to anybody, they'd probably have heard it once or twice. So
sure.
We were very impressed, and so I think we have some solid opportunities. The president of the company says, look, I've got a lot of friends in the business that I will send your proposal over to, so maybe one of my friends will be able to help you out. So we're really optimistic that we can get something done between now and in February.
Is networking as important a part of the marketing partner recruitment process as results from the previous season?
Basically, doing off-track stuff, show car appearances, driver appearances. That's just as important as what we do on the racetrack. Yeah. We've got to do a real good job with brand marketing and stuff, and I think that has helped me over the years, and it's even helping me with this young team. Is I've been involved with some great companies over my career. From Kodak to the TV Guide, State Fair Corn Dogs. Just a lot of big companies, Amp Energy Drink that was now with Junior. So there's a lot of companies I've been involved with. So I know exactly what, major companies, or any company for that matter, what they need besides, Kevin winning or running in the top 5 every week. It's what you need to do off the racetrack and attract fans to the website or to the hauler or to the show car or to the souvenir trailers. You first of all, you've got to be the person that gives back. I mean, you can't expect a fan to support you if they walk by you and they ask you for an autograph and you don't give them one or take time to answer a question. I mean, you've got to give back. And my motto's always been that when there's nobody in the grandstands watching races, there ain't going to be any racing. So I need to try to get as many Kevin LePage fans sitting in the grandstand every week to support us.
Absolutely.
Do you run a lot of your own social media stuff? Between the Facebooks and Twitters and stuff like that, do you get involved with that personally, or is that something that you let somebody else take the reins on because you've got so many other commitments?
No, I do the Facebook thing. I'm partnered up with a young lady who handles the Twitter account. I'm not into that modern technology, but we Twitter, talk back and forth, and she tweets for me, and she just. She's been very helpful with that part of it. I mean, it's young. It's only, I think, a couple months old. And we've got 200-plus members, followers, I guess. And so it's really unique. It's really interesting. And but that's, I mean, if you look at what's going on in today's society, I mean, everybody's doing all kinds of stuff to, as far as the media, and Twitters and Facebook and stuff, and it's really it's really interesting to be part of it because I'm on your radio show because of the Twitter account. I've hooked up with fans, through the Twitter account. So I mean, it's been really cool, and the same thing with the Facebook deal.
Yeah, social media today is just crazy.
Kevin, with the longevity of your career, how do you think that social media aspect has changed the actual on-track racing product? As far as you're seeing a lot of younger drivers coming up now that obviously they're pretty in depth with their social media.
Yeah, there's more ways to hear about them now.
What have you seen a change in? From let's say the mid '80s up through now, as far as is that change as far as the product on track?
Well, it's been ups and downs. We've had years where we've had a lot of young kids come into sport in all the series and do very well, and then there've been years where we haven't seen anybody come into sport, and then it'll come back. So it's been a big roller coaster. It's just our business is very hard to get into. With the lock-ins, the cost, what it takes to run a race team and a race car every week. And so over the years, it's been very difficult for young drivers to knock on the door. But, on the other hand, there have been some talent kids that have come in and done, tests for a lot of the big teams, run some K&N races, run a truck race or whatever, and show potential, and the car owner's like, hey, let's give this guy a shot, and, they get in the car and they do a really good job. So, car owners, they look at all aspects, and, a lot of these young kids, they understand the Twitters and the Facebooks and all that package that's out there, social media, so they know, they can, text, a whole, basically a paragraph in 10 seconds, where to me it takes me 10 minutes, because I'm just not on it all the time. So these young kids that are coming in, they both can do a good job on and off the racetrack.
There are the young kids today that are coming up that we see rising into NASCAR too. They're a lot more well groomed and prepared when they get to that point than they were 25, 30 years ago. There's more resources out there.
Yeah, but 25, 30 years ago, you didn't have to be groomed and prepared.
I know.
You were who you were when you got in that car.
Well,
you didn't have to fit an image.
You got there because you were successful doing other things. So by the time you got there, you were already well into your adult stage, and it's different now. They're plucking them out of go-karts and Legends cars and midgets.
You said that. I was watching a Bobcats game last night. Here, and we have 2 rookies that are on our team this year, and one rookie was the rookie of the month for November, and the other rookie is, they're in the top 4 of his class, and so both of these rookies are, they're playing, they're starting. 2 of them are starting really, and what's happening, and they mentioned it on TV last night, is they're learning the game before they even get to the NBA.
Yeah.
And I think these young kids are doing the same thing. They're learning how to drive race cars before they get to the big leagues by, racing Saturday night races, paying attention, playing the games, watching TV, asking questions. I think there's so many avenues where, kids can understand what the car wants and where the line is, where before, there was only CBS that had it, or a race here and there we had to go and watch it, or actually only run a few races. So I think there's a lot of avenues where are making these kids ready to get in. Plus, we've got that Kyle Larson kid. He came in this year, and I guess he was a real good open wheel driver and done a great job in a couple truck races he did this year. So
yeah, the kid's amazing. We've had him on the show. The kid is unbelievable.
Nominated for Speed Performer.
Yeah, second straight year he's nominated for Speed Performer of the Year.
Yeah, and he made a mistake at Homestead, but that's why he's a rookie, and I think all I can hope for, he's learned from it.
Yep, absolutely.
And somebody gives him another opportunity next year, and the kid will probably have a good future in our business.
Yeah, for sure.
Kevin, you mentioned that mistake. At this point in your career, how do you deal with with a rookie mistake like that, if you're on the short end of that stick, being that you've been around long enough to understand that, yes, that was a rookie mistake, how do you deal with being on the wrong end of a deal like that, when it happens to be you that gets wrecked?
Well, we're all rookies at one time, and, they wouldn't call it an accident, if it wasn't an accident or a rookie mistake or whatever. The kid made a mistake. I mean, a week before down in Phoenix, another young kid made a mistake with Brendan Gaughan. So, that's why they have to come in these series and they have to practice and they have to race. They're going to make mistakes. Yep. We all make mistakes. We get out of bed every day to do something in life, and we may make a mistake. So nobody's perfect, and all I can say is, hey, if the kid ever walked by me and they say, hey, Mr. LePage, can you give me any advice? I'm there to help anybody. I've been here since '94. I've been driving since 1980. So, I'm willing to help anybody who wants to learn. I've also had, on the other side of the coin, I've had young kids that, a crew chief or an owner's come up to me and say, hey, could you go talk to my driver? We were struggling. And you go over there and the young kid knows everything before I get there. At that point, talk to the kid, and I don't help him again because I'm not going to help somebody who doesn't want to listen.
Yep. Makes sense to me.
How difficult is it to walk up to some of these guys who've been told by everybody on the way up that you're the next big thing, you're the next hot driver, you're the next, insert whatever legendary name that you want to put in there. And then on the other side of it, the car owner says, hey, can you come over and talk to this guy? And you got to try and find a way to get through to them, and they already know, like you said, everything there is to know.
Well, I tell them, I said, look, I've got over 550 races between Nationwide, Cup, and Truck Series. I said, when you can get that many races underneath your belt, you can carry an attitude. But I don't carry an attitude. But until that point, you need to respect everybody who's in this business.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of guys in my career that has come and gone. And you can go look at the career right now from a lot of these guys that are active drivers, these young drivers, and they don't have anywhere close to the number of races I have and may not get there.
Right.
They may end up being washed out because they can't drive or, whatever the case may be. So, I just tell these young kids, I said, look, you don't care what the car owners are. Don't care what the crew chief says, who you are. At the end of the day, you're the only guy that's in that race car that is stepping on the gas, has the brake in your left foot and the steering wheel. So you do the right thing for what you think is right, and you go a long ways. And, that's all I can do. I give them my honest opinion, and at the end of the day, if they take it, fine. But, a lot of them, they respect me because of the years I've been here and the adversity I've gone through. I've been at the bottom, I've been at the top, and, the thing that makes a good race car driver is a guy that can bounce back from, being knocked off that horse and jumping back on it and moving forward.
Can you tell us a little bit about growing up in Vermont and racing up there in the New England region, and then ultimately how the progress came to be that you were able to be a regular with all the different NASCAR series?
Well, I started in 1980 running full-body cars, actually 112-inch wheelbase NASCAR. That was the series up there. And, I raced there till 94 and, owned my own race team through my dad owned a team for 4 years, and then I raced for a team in Maine for 3 years, and then I owned my own team till I moved south. And, I think that helped me coming down here is to understand all the aspects of a race team, from driving to working on them, what the car needs, and the business side of it, with what it costs to, for fuel, for tires, for hotel rooms, all that things. And, and one thing that Ken Squire told me years ago, actually the first year I came down here in 94, he says, just remember one thing, that you always will be from Shelburne, Vermont. I have never, ever, and you can look at any of my, things, I'm always from Shelburne, Vermont. Right. And I always will be from Shelburne, Vermont. Right. And I think I've stayed grounded through, my whole career. And, I've drove for some great car owners, with Jack Rouse and Larry McClure, and the list goes on. And today, we're all good friends, no matter what has happened, through my career. And I think that's why I really enjoy what I'm still doing, and I'm really looking forward to having a good, solid 2013.
I've got one more thing. You a little while ago you were mentioning some of your past, your previous sponsors you've had. One you left out was the Vermont Teddy Bear Company.
Yeah.
How many teddy bears you still got at home?
Oh, probably in this house I probably got about 20, and that's one of the neatest things that was able to get me down here was the sponsorship of the Vermont Teddy Bear Company.
Yep.
And while we got just a few minutes, I tell this to a lot of people is Dale Earnhardt, when he was alive in '94, we were racing. He was racing in the Busch Series back then, and
yep.
He always would. Every time I went to him, he called me Teddy Bear Man. And we were in Dover one weekend, and he come up to me and he says, "Hey, Kevin," and I'm like, "Uh-oh, what did I do now?" Because he never called me by my first name. And he says, "Hey," he says, "my little daughter Taylor is she plays with dolls and has tea and stuff, and I was wondering if you could get me a teddy bear for her, and I think that would be cool." And I said, "Yeah, no problem." So I go out to qualify, and I graze the wall with a right rear quarter panel. And so the next day, I'm working on watching the guys work on the car on the pit road, and I feel this arm around me, and it's Dale Earnhardt. He says, "You get your car all fixed?" And I said, "Yep." And he turned around, he was walking to his Busch car because he was getting ready to go practice. And I said, "Hey, Dale, I got something for you." And at my toolbox I went up to my souvenir trailer and got a teddy bear, Vermont Teddy Bear. And the look on that man's face was priceless. When you see that commercial, priceless,
yep.
That was priceless. And, we remained friends from that point all the way to, the day he left us. And, it's just that guy was, a really nice friend of mine in my career and helped me a long way. So, it's just Vermont Teddy Bear got us really close back then.
He was something special, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yeah, the people who never got to know the man, they only can read and watch movies and races with him.
Yep.
But to know him on a personal basis, one of the finest persons I've ever met in the business.
Nice.
What a great story.
Yeah, that's cool.
I
I couldn't let this conversation go on without bringing up Vermont Teddy Bear. We had to do it.
Yeah.
Without them, I would have never made it down here. And the good thing is they're still in my hometown in Shelburne, Vermont, and they're still making teddy bears as we speak. So they're a great company, and without them, I wouldn't be here sitting in North Carolina talking with you guys.
That's awesome.
that is cool. Before we let you go, is there anybody that you wanted to thank or mention, or any websites or
throughout your
social media traffic that we can send anybody to so they can find and connect with Kevin LePage?
Well, I'm on Facebook, and my Twitter account is Kevin _LePage. We're trying to get my fan base up on the Twitter account, so anybody wants to be part of us, we're on it not every day, but during the racing season we are on it a lot. But we're also on it quite a bit during the off season also. So we're just trying to get built up for the 2013. Right now we got 4 cars built and trying to get all these sponsorships deals taken care of. But the most important things I want to say to everybody out there, just wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and be safe during the holidays.
Absolutely.
Actually, before we let you go, I did have one more question. When you were talking about all the different places that fans can get in touch with you, and you talked about driving those full-body cars up in Vermont. What's it like for you as a race fan to know that your fans have such ease of direct connect to you? Coming up through, you'd have to be at the racetrack. There wasn't the internet, there wasn't Facebook and stuff like that. So those drivers that you might have watched and looked up to as a kid, you might not have been able to get as much of that first-person interaction as the way some of these fans coming up through can now. Did you ever kind of stop and think about anything like that?
It's just, it's another tool for the fan to know, who Kevin LePage is, and what I am, besides being a race car driver. Last weekend I was decorating my tree. I tweeted that. In a couple of weeks we'll be heading to Vermont. I'll be tweeting that. For the holiday. So it just, we are normal people.
Yep.
It definitely adds a human factor.
Most fans think that we're a celebrity and we're different. Well, we're not. We put our pants on one leg at a time, and we are on TV on Saturday or Sunday. But at the end of the day, at least I know I'm the same guy I was, 30 years ago when I came into the business, and maybe a little bit grayer, a little bit heavier, but I'm still Kevin LePage.
Nice.
Well, we sure do appreciate your time. We look forward to getting some updates from you as we go through 2013.
Yeah.
And by all means, we'll be keeping an eye on that Facebook and those Twitter accounts and keeping track of what's going on with the racetrack and find out how taking down the Christmas tree goes later on after the holidays.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Again, thank you for having me on tonight, and thank you for all the fans that hopefully joined in on us, and you guys have a great holiday.
You too. Have a safe and happy holiday, and have a good season next year, man.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Boy, everybody was loving that conversation. The live chat was going on like crazy. People were just thinking that the stories he was coming up with was so cool.
Seems like a very nice guy, don't he?
Yeah, he's a real cool dude.
Yeah.
And that makes 2 NASCAR drivers now that we've had on here for sure. 3 if you count Kyle, right?
Yeah. Kyle's NASCAR now.
He is now.
And he's only going to go further, so.
Where's he going to go after this? He's going to go Formula One?
No, I mean further up the NASCAR ladder.
A little deeper into
further
NASCAR.
Up the NASCAR ladder.
Yeah.
Although he does want to run the Indy 500, though.
The what?
He does want to run the Indy 500.
Speaking of the Indy 500, did you see Roger Penske tossed out
did you watch the banquet?
Tossed an offer out to Tony Stewart to pop back over to Indianapolis this year and try the double.
Yeah, at the banquet during Rogers' champion car owner interview.
During his
when he got up to do his
speech,
he had talked. He said threw something out to Tony and offered him to do the double.
He offered to give him a ride for the 500.
Mike just quickly corrected me that we had Mike McLaughlin.
Yes, we
Ron
did.
Fellows, Bobby Allison.
Allison.
We're up at a little bit higher number than that, but we thank Mike for taking Doug Zupan's place and keeping good history on the 31st lap.
The problem is that's the lost show that nobody ever heard.
Yeah. Yep, the lost show. And you know what? Something as much as I would love to have a lost episode that resurfaces, it's not gonna.
It's just never gonna make it back.
The lost episode.
Yeah, that's gone. There is no combination of technology that is going to resurrect that. There was.
It's a damn shame too.
Well, we talked with the folks over at Amy's. We want to do it again. And I don't think it would be very difficult to pull something like that off. We talked a little bit about February. We talked a little bit about early spring as well. There's some things that we want to do. That will happen again, and all those guys hopefully will come back and we can learn from the mistakes. We've implemented that here in studio. We've used that on the road. It has been a parachute that we wanted it to be, so that probably won't be the case again unless something catastrophic, knock on wood, happens. So, is what it is, and we're going to try and make that happen. We talked about doing that live show from the Hall of Fame, which we want to make happen.
Yeah, we still haven't put that together, haven't we?
Did Malik get a date for go-kart?
We'll get with him. We'll get some of the details on the go-kart stuff when John goes on to Baltimore. He'll report back in the event Mike doesn't make the return trip.
Well, if he's listening, maybe he can chat with you.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's kind of busy in the live chat. We got 60 people hanging out with us through the course of the evening, and they've got all sorts of different conversations going on in there. They've asked us questions that we haven't been able to get to. We do have Eric Jones, the Snowball Derby winner, coming up here in just a few minutes. Rich is out on the phone right now. Just wanted to take a minute while we got a quick break in the action. I want to mention that this is the 31st lap, and we go live to tape every Thursday night, so be sure to jump on there, check us out. The show's up almost immediately after, so if you don't keep the late hours, oh boy,
spit it out, fella.
Man, that was rough. You don't keep the late hours. Visit FingerLakes1.com on Friday or visit podcast.fingerlakes1.com. There's a host of podcasts available. The content continues to grow. We've got The Saw starring Tony Sometimes, The Musical Viral Spiral, Chewed Gum, The Lake Girls, Tech Talk Live on Saturdays, Finger Lakes Today, and Upstate Hoops, which follows us every Thursday night, November through March. We've also got the live basketball broadcast presented by Monday, Miris, and Ricky. They've got all sorts of cool stuff going on the local high school basketball scene. Tonight, Upstate Hoops is going to be bumped to 10:15 to give room for the Syracuse basketball game. If you want to see the show as it happens, visit fingerlakes1.tv. Look up the 31st Lap, 31stlap.com for all the show information and connections, 31stlap.com, or check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/the 31st Lap. We've got some time coming up later on after we finish this interview, because I kind of had a feeling that you're going the direction of Dick Dragon. And we're going to do a full recap later on. Hopefully,
I didn't bring anything with me. I brought it all last week.
I know, and then we didn't have
I got cut off.
Yeah, we did. It's happened a couple times. It's going to be nice. We don't have anybody knocking on the door through the course of the conclusion of this thing.
I knew I thought about it before I left. I said, I should probably print off the standings again. I didn't. I'm like, I knew when I didn't that you were going to ask.
Yep. All I'm happy to know is that second team that we brought up at the last minute has ended up in the top 10. Yep. I couldn't believe that was 9th.
Is that what it was? Was 9th? I know I told
8th
you.
8th or 9th, something like that. Remember. I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't figure that team was going to do. I didn't think I was going to do much of anything in terms of fantasy sports.
I bombed at the very end.
Yeah,
I led most of the year, and then I ended up 6th.
Yeah, because
I tanked.
Yeah, because you rigged it.
I didn't rig it.
You rigged it. It was fixed.
3/4 of my team stopped racing come October.
You should have planned that out better.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
I don't know. What are you going to do? So if that wasn't what you were going to bring up, what were you trying to say?
I wasn't going to say anything.
Well, you should. I'm sure you got something.
Well, actually, yeah. I was going to ask you. You mentioned some people were asking you questions on the chat. Anything that we can answer or talk about right now?
Well, there was all sorts of stuff. There was somebody was asking what Sunny's boyfriend's name was, which I thought was cool.
Sunshine's got a boyfriend?
I don't think so.
I don't think she does either.
But,
if she does, she doesn't talk about him.
No. Somebody asked who my favorite driver was on dirt at this point, which we didn't have a chance to get to. We might try and revisit that. There was all sorts of discussion about wing sprint cars. I couldn't keep up on all of it, but boy, did it get crazy. It was pretty intense.
Wing sprint cars, huh?
Yeah, we'll getting the big nod over there from the door that Rich has somebody on the line. Somebody. That somebody is probably 16-year-old Eric Jones, who
you got a Snowball Derby winner.
The Snowball Derby winner from 2012, 16-year-old Eric Jones. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Absolutely wonderful.
Freezing here.
Yeah, it's a little chilly up here in central New York right now, but we're used to that.
No, we're not.
It's not too much warmer. I'm in Indiana tonight, but it's not too much warmer in Michigan or Indiana. So,
is that where you're from? Is Michigan?
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
You happen to be at the Indy trade show?
Yes, sir. That's what I'm doing down here.
Oh, you're at IMUS?
Yeah. Yep.
How's the show?
I'm not sure yet. The first day I'm going to be there is tomorrow. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I keep thinking it's Friday. It's only
for the
Thursday.
Past 2 years though, and it's been growing. So.
Nice.
Well, Eric, I mean, why don't we just kick this interview off right out of the blocks? And I guess mostly I want to know how is it that a 16-year-old kid can get out in front of this pack and have, there's NASCAR drivers stuck in behind you. Kyle Busch is back there, 1-2 spots. How is it that you can be at such a young age and not let your nerves get to you and go ahead and just take off and run away and grab a win in a race like that?
Well, I mean, I've surrounded myself with good people, and my mom and dad have helped me surround myself with good people. So, I've learned to keep myself pretty calm. Before and when I was younger, I had a problem with getting nervous, but as I've raced more and more, I learned it doesn't do anything for you. But just really helping me keep calm. I have a good spotter, Brandon Lyons, that keeps me really calm in the car. And you do realize who you're racing with there at the end, and especially coming down to the last restart, having to race with Kyle. He's really tough on new tires and on restarts. So we both had fresh tires on there, and it came down to the last 20 laps, and we raced side by side for quite a while, and had a pretty good battle there in the car, and I think the fans really enjoyed it. So, I had a lot of fun personally, and definitely it was cool to be able to come out with a win.
What's your background, Eric? What did you get started in when it comes to racing?
Actually, I got started when I was 7 in quarter midgets, and
way back 9 years ago.
What was that?
I said way back 9 years ago.
yeah, exactly. It's only been that long, but when I was 12, I moved up to a street stock at my home track in Michigan here in Owasso Speedway, and then the next year later, I got into a late model and started touring around the Midwest a little bit with the old ASA late model series, and then the year after we ran the CRH Eggs deal, and we ran some ARC stuff this year, and just continued to grow my career more and be able to run these bigger races.
So all your experiences on pavement, do you have any dirt experience at all?
No, I don't have any dirt experience. I've always kind of wanted to get on dirt, but just never had the chance to.
Yeah. Nice.
Where after winning something like the Snowball Derby, obviously, the stock rises a little bit.
Yeah, getting a lot of attention now.
How's it been having to beat off phone calls and media requests to do shows such as ours, and having somebody like myself beating you up on Twitter until you give in and do an interview?
It's pretty cool. I've never really experienced anything like that until now, and I've done interviews before this, but never had so many interviews in such a short period of time after just winning one race. But it just really shows you how big the Snowball Derby is, and how much it's grown here over the past few years. And it's pretty cool that we got a short track race and we still got 70 cars showing up for it and being able to try to just make it into 34 spots. So definitely very cool to be able to go down to that race and run, and even cooler to be able to win it and have all these media opportunities pop up, and just a world that I've never really experienced before.
Yeah, you have now won one of America's most prestigious short track races. I mean, that's something to be said there.
You're the second 16-year-old to go ahead and win that. So that right there is impressive all into its own. But above and beyond all the media calls and the requests to do this interview and that, have you taken any phone calls from any car owners or sponsors looking to add themselves to your race program going into 2013?
Well, actually, the phone started ringing just 24 hours after we won the race, and that was kind of unexpected, I guess you could say. But there's a few car owners that we've talked to here just this week that hopefully it opens up something for next year. We don't have any funding in place for next year, so hopefully we can get something worked out on that side of things, and more importantly, get something worked out on the car owner side of things, and be able to run some more races other than just late models.
If you had your pick of series or whatnot, what do you think interests you the most?
Well, I'd like to be able to run for like a championship in the K&N series or something like that. I think it's pretty beneficial to be able to get a championship in that series, and also just to be able to run those races. And hopefully I get in some more ARC races again next year. I think it's good to be able to get experience in those cars just because they do have the 850 horsepower that's more comparable to a Cup-style car. So hopefully we can get some more series like that in, and definitely keep running late models because I really enjoy running late models.
Now, had you run the Snowball Derby in the past, or is this your first year?
This was our first year running the Snowball. We came down 2 years previous and ran just the Snowflake.
The Snowflake, yeah, okay. Now, have you done any studying about the history of the Snowball, like looking at the past winners list and stuff? I mean, you now have notched your name in the record books along with Donnie, Allison, and Darrell Waltrip, and guys like Rick Crawford and Bobby Gill, and some of the biggest names in short track or big stock car racing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've known the names that have won this race and how big it really is, but just to be able to go down and really experience that race and just run up that track is so cool. And to be able to put my name on that list of people means, I mean, just so much to me and my team. It was really, really an unbelievable experience.
Yeah, I mean, I know Kyle Busch, we were talking about him earlier. He's run that race the last few years. He has not won that race yet, but he's been trying the last few years. I mentioned it earlier, too, when we first came on the air. For years, Rusty Wallace tried to win that race and couldn't do it, and now you have done it before they ever did.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's another thing I was going to say is just not only the list of guys that have won it, but the list of guys that have gone down and tried that race is just as, I mean, prestigious as the guys that have won it.
Yeah, and you look at a lot of the NASCAR ties in that race. Ross Kenseth was in the race, which is Matt Kenseth's son. Who else? Chase Elliott. I think actually Chase Elliott, did he finish second? No,
Chase ran fifth, I think.
Okay. That's Bill Elliott's son. He was in the race. There were 3 or 4 sons of NASCAR racers or former racers that were in the race. Obviously, Stephen Wallace, Rusty's son, he was in the race.
He's won that race.
Somebody else.
He's won that race more times than Rusty did.
Yeah, once. Who'd have thunk it? But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of NASCAR ties to that race, and there always has been for many, many years. So, winning that race certainly is going to get a lot of attention for you.
Yeah, it's just one of those races that, kind of the whole stock car world has their eyes on for that week, and they're just kind of watching what's going on and seeing who's fast that week. And it's just, like you said, it's always been one of those races that, for some reason, has been interesting to not only the short track world, but to also the NASCAR world.
Yep, absolutely.
Eric, I had read one of your Twitter posts that you had basically you were commenting on how Kyle ran you, from that last restart to the checkered. He ran you hard, he ran you clean, and gave some good racing to the fans. Were you expecting maybe from a guy like himself that's a Cup guy, and he's been there, he's been trying to win that race? Were you expecting to get a bumper, going down to the checkered and get moved out of the way?
Well, with Kyle, I mean, he's a hard-nosed racer, definitely very competitive, but at the same time, he races you with a lot of respect. He's an aggressive racer for sure, but when you get down to that last 20 laps in the Derby, it can tend to get pretty rough and tumble. So you just gotta kind of keep doing what you've been doing all day. And I guess I didn't expect to kind of get maybe a nudge from him or something, and he did. He gave us a few nudges, and we made a little contact. But definitely one of the cleaner last 20 laps for the Snowball Derby that I've been a part of or experienced before. So, it was definitely fun racing with him, especially since he raced us so clean, and we gave the same in return. So, I've always raced people clean, and I'll continue to do that.
Yeah, when Johanna Long won the race a couple years ago, didn't she dump the leader on the last lap?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she got a shot in there.
Yeah. Sometimes that's what you got to do in a race like that,
Talk a little bit about, racing a guy like Kyle, getting that respect from Kyle. What does that do, for your experience level? You're 16 years old. You're obviously, you're at the Snowball Derby. You've made it into the top 34. Now you're out front. You're leading it. What kind of experience, what kind of learning curve do you take just from that last 20 laps moving forward to apply to the rest of your career?
Just never giving up. That's the main thing that I learned. You do not give up, especially in a race like that. And it definitely sends your confidence up, being able to run with a guy like Kyle and finish ahead of Kyle, especially. So, he's definitely running against him. Taught you that if you race someone clean, you're most of the time, you could say most of the time, hopefully, you get the same in return. So, definitely just never giving up was one of the main things that I learned from that.
Well, before we get you headed out and on your way and, back to hanging out and waiting for the IMS show to kick off tomorrow, is there anybody that you'd like to thank, any sponsors, Cardinals? Who makes racing happen for you all season long?
Yeah, I got to thank all my sponsors: Paragon Corvette Reproduction, CG Financial, Fram Auto Light, and Simpson Race Products, but also, my parents for getting me to the point I'm at now and everything they've done for me in my racing career, my personal life, and my crew chief, Rich Lucius, who did a great job for me all day long and set up a great race car, called a great strategy, my spotter Brandon Lyons up at the spotter stand, and my whole crew that day, everybody on the pit crew, but just thanks to everyone who has ever been a part of my racing career to get me to where I am now.
Well, Eric, we'll get you on your way. We appreciate you taking the time out tonight and hitting us up here for the show.
Yeah, congratulations on the win, man. We wish you the best next year and have safe and happy holidays.
Yeah, ride that momentum.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, and hopefully we can talk to you guys soon.
You got
Absolutely.
it, man.
Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Thanks a lot, Eric.
Thanks, man.
See you guys.
There goes Eric Jones, winner of the Snowball Derby. How about that?
Yeah.
Are you
That's
kidding
pretty
me? That kid's 16 my foot. I mean, did you listen to that?
You don't even talk that well.
But
not even close.
That's the thing we were talking about earlier, how young these kids are so
well-groomed
well
they are.
groomed.
I mean, that kid was
With
well-spoken.
the way they speak and just everything, the way they present themselves.
Think about it, John. What were
so
you doing
different.
at 16?
Riding a bicycle.
Peddling
peddling papers.
Riding a bicycle, peddling papers, and cursing out the neighbor for ordering a subscription.
The Amsterdam Recorder.
He was riding a bicycle. And 2 years later, they took the training wheels off.
Yep. That's
No,
right.
but really, I mean, to sit and listen to a 16-year-old kid, let's take the racing aspect out of that. To listen to how well spoken he is at 16, and he wasn't that.
But that's what we just talked about with Kevin LePage.
You're right, we did, but he didn't come off as that cookie cutter.
No.
Just you know what I'm saying. He sounded well put together. He was answering questions. He didn't sound like he was coming with a.
No, but if he goes any further, he's going to get ruined, and he's going to sound like because he's already got all the bases covered. Now they just need to finish molding the clay.
I don't disagree, but it's 16. I know what I was doing at 16 years old, and I couldn't. You couldn't have put a.
It didn't even work yet. Don't even tell me.
Oh, it worked. No, but I couldn't.
was told this still don't work.
I thought your wife would keep that secret.
Nah, she doesn't keep nothing secret.
Oh.
Didn't she tell you? Didn't she tell you that? She doesn't keep anything secret.
You rat bastard. No, I mean, legitimately, at 16.
John's first bike was that one with the big wheel in the front, and the little one in the back.
Hey, I had that. I had the ape hanger handlebars and the big banana seat.
Actually, my first bike, I don't even know if I remember my
Had
first
square
bike.
wheels because the wheel hadn't been invented.
I think my first bike was a Huffy.
Yeah, you are an old fart, too.
I broke it in half.
Nice. I don't even want to know how.
Finish what you were saying.
I think it's too late for that.
You were making a point about how well spoken he was.
No, I mean, at 16 years old, I couldn't have. I don't even know if you could have trained me to talk like this kid's coming across, to be that well spoken, to perform as well as he does on the track. I mean, how long until we see Eric Jones' name referred to in the fashion that Kyle Larson is at this point? I mean,
2 years.
Maybe.
I first got to see Kyle Larson race when he was 15 years old, and 16 years old, and he just grabbed everybody's attention with both hands.
And I mean,
at 16, and now look at him.
Right,
So,
this kid goes down to the Snowball Derby first time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he was
comparison?
nobody. I'm not even trying to compare him to Kyle Larson. What I'm trying to say is
4 or 5 years down the road, who knows where?
You know what I'm saying?
What the kid
You're
has
looking
done.
at he's 16 years old. He goes down to the Snowball Derby first time. Wins the damn thing.
He's run a couple ARCA races in the past.
Right. I mean,
right?
he's there. He's been around. But I mean, I'll be honest with you. Before he went out and won that race, never heard the name.
Mike's got a good point. It's a situation where Larson races more, and he does dirt and pavement, whereas
right.
Kyle's, Kyle's much more versatile, and no fault to Eric Jones. He hasn't had the opportunity to run dirt yet, as he said he would like to one day.
But here's the question: with winning this race and doing the things he's doing right now, and hitting the interviews, and I mean, he doesn't know us
he's
from
certainly on the radar.
No, but he's
he doesn't know us from anywhere.
He's helping
and
getting his name out there, which is what he needs.
Absolutely,
to do at this
he's
stage.
doing all the right things, and he's doing all the interviews, and he's doing them properly.
And he sounds like he's got a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah, how long until we see Eric Jones in the same type of light as Kyle Larson just kind of burst onto the scene. And you know, I'd heard Kyle's name prior to him starting to run trucks, and you know, I had heard his name through dirt racing.
Right. But in the last 2 years, he's just busted.
Yeah, he's just blown up. Yep. So, you know, congratulations to Eric Jones. I mean, 16 years old, the kid's got to be riding higher than you know.
Yeah, he won the Snowball Derby, man. That's
going to really.
That's no small feat to win the Snowball Derby. That's a very, very prestigious race in the short track racing world, especially short track pavement. You know?
Not that I care about asphalt. I still think it's all boring.
There you go. Good job, Eric Jones. You won something I don't care about.
No, and to be honest with you, who cares what I like? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's just my opinion.
That's true.
Who cares what I like? Who the hell am I? But, you know.
Yeah, who are you anyway?
I'm not even sure.
I don't even recognize you.
Co-host. He's a co-host.
That's right.
2 weeks in a row.
Apparently part-time co-host.
Part-time co-host. Yes, that's
2 weeks in a row he showed up. I can't believe it.
But thanks Mike Mallett for not coming in because his chair is comfortable.
Mike in the chat, co-host. John in the couch, co-host. Rich in the chair, part-time co-host. Chris in the chair, producer. That's right.
Oh. Hey. And then put you at the top of the food chain. You control all our buttons.
That's different. Oh, there was a question that came in through the live chat. They want to know who our favorite drivers are and why for
in what discipline of racing?
Mods, sprints, street stocks.
Yeah, I mean, I have different drivers in a lot of different classes.
I think he said wingless. I got to go find it. Oh boy, I keep hitting the roll button and it's changing stuff over here. I needed to change stuff over here. Trying to find that question again. Well, I mean, go ahead. Obviously, modifieds and sprint cars are.
Now, are we talking active?
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean,
are we talking all
pick
time?
Just pick anybody.
I mean, whatever. Do both. Who is your current
pick a driver? I don't think
like your all-time favorite, and then your current.
I got the list here: mod, sportsman, streets, and sprint cars. We got a few minutes to use up here. We can.
I'm going to start right with the street stocks. Probably my favorite guy to watch is Mike Welch.
Yeah,
and a lot of
been
that
on the show.
A lot of that has to do with the fact that, you know, he's a good racer. You know, he does it right. He runs you clean. You know, he's such a advocate for his division. On top of being a good racer, Mike Welch would take he would take my street stock vote.
You want to do the divisions? You got anybody for street stocks? You follow it? I mean, you follow it enough
to... If you're going to talk about street stocks / pro stock, whatever. My favorite all-time, when it comes to that, is Todd Hoffman, for sure. Todd Hoffman, to me, was the greatest street stock racer I've ever seen. Guy won everywhere and everything when it came to that class. This was before the pro stock days. That was... Later, that division was molded into pro stocks, and then later they brought back the street stock / pure stock.
It was all the same thing.
It was all the same. But
at that
Todd Hoffman won everything in the 80s.
Yeah, at that point, I think they were running expert, novice, and rookie.
Yeah, everything was all together.
Everything was all together. They had it broken down into 2 or 3
There wasn't 8 classes of the full fendered.
Right.
Street stock type of car at that time.
No, they ran them all at the same time and just broke it up by experience.
Yeah, and
who you got for
Todd Hoffman was amazing.
Who you got
that
for
guy won everywhere.
Street stock, Chris?
Boy, I was trying to roll him over my head. I can't believe I forgot his name. I used to talk to him every week down at Black Rock. He drove a red number 80. Ray. I can't think of his last name. Ray. He was always a great guy.
Must have been really good.
He was an awesome dude. He was just a genuinely good guy. You know, it didn't really matter. What happened week in and week out, and she's there.
She'll dig it up for you. She knows.
I thought she had left. There was some stuff that went down, so we got to make sure we get a hold of Sunny afterwards. There's some stuff that went down. We had to get after a couple people.
Are these meatheads being stupid in the chat room?
A little bit, but
listen, you guys got to knock that nonsense off.
She held her own. I thought she'd left, but she's still around. Ray Preston's a sprint car driver, which we're gonna get back to him.
Ray Preston,
yeah, Ray Preston for sprint cars definitely. But I can't think of his name. And then Chris Fisher, and then Nate Peckham.
Yeah, Nate Peckham is another good quality racer, quality guy. I've actually
Ray Heyer. That's it.
Ray Heyer. Yep.
Yep, I could not think of his name. Yeah, Ray Heyer. He was awesome down there at Black Rock. I mean, he didn't win a lot of races, but he was a cool dude.
What do you got for Sportsman?
Sportsman, Stu Shepard.
Stu Shepard now or Stu Shepard then?
Probably. Well, I mean, both. He still ran. Yeah, both.
He's won at both ends.
I didn't spend a whole lot of time thinking about it. I know there's other people that would probably be in that discussion. Danny Wiesner would be one of them. Justin Wright would be another one.
Todd Henderson.
Justin Henderson, who's been on the show a lot.
Which they went to the dreaded wing sprint car.
But that's all right.
I think it's good for both of them, really.
No,
go ahead.
I was trying to think of some of the other guys. Oh, Eric Jaguar. I can't believe I forgot Eric. He's been on the show before. But the one that jumped off the page was Stu.
Yeah, I see. For me, I would go with 90% of the Canandaigua Motorsports part.
You can't answer that without getting yourself in hot water.
I don't care about hot water. That doesn't bother me.
Rocky.
What if it's boiling?
Water. What's that?
What if it's
I don't
boiling?
give a crap. Stick your toes in and see what comes out. I mean, most all those guys. I'll speak with all of them. There's not a bad guy out there. I like Todd. I've enjoyed watching him race at the different levels that he's been at, mostly at Sportsman. But he was very willing the first year I got in a car to share, not necessarily all his setup tips, but kind of share some pretty important advice before I went out and made a complete ass of myself. He kind of settled my nerves with some of the stuff that he let me in on before I belted up and went out and made a complete fool of myself. Not that I didn't do that anyway.
What about Jessica Power? Where's she fit in your Sportsman picks? She's been the biggest Sportsman friend of the show.
And she has, and she does well
she's
for
well
herself.
on her way.
Yeah, I think she's, when you're talking Todd Henderson, Eric Jaguar, Danny Wiesner, you guys have been doing this for quite a while. They've got a very big notebook, as you would say.
Guerreri.
Paul's a great racer. He is probably one of the greatest ball busters on the planet, and there's never a time that he won't talk to you. Even when I've seen him just furious mad, and he's still breaking chops, and he'll still hold a conversation with you. He's a great guy.
What about
Kevin Ridley?
Kevin Ridley. Yep, that's another good one.
When it comes to Sportsman, I don't really have I never really had a favorite per se.
They've got roofs on them.
Back home, at Fonda, going to Fonda every Saturday, whatever. Most of my life, the last 10 years, whatever, I always rooted for McAuliffe at home, and when the Sportsman cars first started, those first few years, I rooted for Gary Tompkins because he ran a Mopar. If I had to pick one, I'd say Tompkins or McAuliffe, but I don't really have I've never really had a favorite.
Well, the Sportsman division dates back too. I mean, there was all sorts of different names for that way back. You start digging up.
Bob McCready was very stout in a Sportsman car.
But that's not what we think of as Sportsman now.
No, that's not what we look at.
If I had to pick a current driver right now, I'd say Rocky's well on his way. Obviously, with
Dave Marcichelli's
with what he's done,
he's doing very well.
What about, you want to do sprints or modifies next?
Let's just continue on with what we got and hit the modified class up. I mean, obviously we know Jack Johnson is going to be
that one is
that's a no-brainer. But
most people that know me, I'm a lifelong Jack Johnson fan. I bleed orange. Now, having said that, he is my idol. He's active. He's God to me.
Active modified driver.
So when you talk about an active driver or whatever, in the 80s, there used to be classified, there was 320s, and then there was big blocks.
I don't care about that.
I had a favorite 320 driver, and then I had my big block driver. Because at that time, Jack Johnson didn't do a lot of small block racing. He ran Malta on Fridays or whatever, but he didn't really do a lot of 320 racing, very little. So I had a 320 driver, and at that time, that was Jeffer. Jeff Hetzler was my 320 guy. Then later they moved him to they changed it to 358s. But by that time, Jeffer had kind of primarily moved into the big blocks and only ran a handful of small block stuff like at the end of the year or Saturdays at Orange County doing double duty or whatever. So that kind of transitioned where he was primarily a big block driver getting into the 90s and stuff. So then that's how I became a Dwayne Howard fan in the early 90s is because he became my small block guy because that's all he ever ran was small block stuff in PA. That was pretty much all he did. So I always had him kind of classified. But now in today's world, they're really, they're really not classified. So they're all mixed match
and forth.
Yeah, so
I mean, you're a DH
today's current driver, Jeffer doesn't really do a whole lot of racing anymore. Just Orange County is pretty much it. And so now it's pretty much all full-blown DH.
Chris, who you got?
Oh.
Current active modified guy.
Current active. Well, because of the show, I think. Bobby Barron is way up there. I didn't know Bobby that much until I met Mike, and Mike kind of introduced me to Bobby, and we got to know him a little bit. And then coming on the show, he's been such a great friend of the show. It's hard.
He's been awesome to us.
He has been great. And you look at somebody like Pat Ward, but growing up, I've always been a Steve Payne fan, and it's hard to get around to get around anything other than that.
It's pretty much your hometown guy too.
It is a hometown thing, but I mean it's so hard to pick just one because so many people. You got Jimmy Phelps, who's been so good to the show. Justin Harris, who I got to know fairly well when I was over at Canandaigua on a little bit more of a regular basis. Steve Botcher. I always liked Steve Botcher. He had those sharp white and green cars that always looked so good. Mike Isles. And there was another guy who ran down at, I used to know him, and I forgot his name now, who used to run regular down at Hagerstown. No, that was a late model car. That was a late model car that used to be from New York that would drive the 7NY car in the late model division down at Hagerstown. But Mike Isles is another guy. Jeff Strunk, Billy Pouch, both of those guys have been people that I've always watched, all along. And it's hard to pick just one because you get you get on the inside of it and you end up knowing these people. You like different people for different reasons. Like Matt Shepard, how can you not like that guy? Ryan Godown, there's another great example.
But before
Sonny.
all that, you had to have a favorite driver
Steve
you looked
Payne.
up to, right? Okay.
Well, that was Steve Payne for him. For me, I'll go with maybe not active at this point. It's really three. There's really three guys.
Mike Mahaney too.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking active, that's tough. But I was always a Barefoot Bob McCready fan.
Really?
Always. I loved watching that guy race.
Did your dad like him?
I don't know. I really
don't know?
I really don't. I don't know. To be honest with you, my father and
was your father a race fan?
Are you kidding me?
Well, how the hell do you not know who he liked?
Because that's not something that we discussed. We
He didn't let you know?
No, you couldn't talk about it.
No, we didn't. That was not something my father and I would discuss how races went. We would discuss in his waning years how Dirt Car was doing something he was not all that big of a fan of. We would have countless arguments while I was driving him back to his house in Clifton about this guy or that guy. Or
Joe Plazik just came up.
Joe Plazik was always great to watch, but it was Barefoot Bob McCready, Will Cagle, Merv Treichler, and Johnny Byrosh.
Oh, John Byrosh, yeah.
It's not a coincidence they're all Canandaigua guys.
Not a coincidence at all. And I'll tell you right now, if you want to go with current guys, Matt Shepard and Justin Harris, I like
Canandaigua guys.
Both of them through and through. Listen, I don't need to leave my backyard when I've got the best of the best there. Don't hate, appreciate, brother.
What just happened there?
He's getting all twisted in knots because I'm not going to go outside of Canandaigua to pick good drivers.
Well, you said modified, non-active modified. What about Richie Evans and Mike McLaughlin just came up? Sonny brought up Mike McLaughlin.
Ooh, if you're going to throw Richie Evans in there, that's pavement modified.
It's
listen,
still a
That's different.
I've got pictures of me sitting in.
That's a whole different class.
I've got for me. It's tough because I grew up at the racetrack. I was crawling.
We all did, didn't we?
Yeah, I was there when the first car rolled into the pits. My father worked at the track. I was crawling in and out of damn near every modified that rolled in. I mean,
all the Canandaigua guys.
Every single. That's where I freaking grew up. Canandaigua, Black Rock. I mean, Weedsport. I'm not from out wherever the hell you come from. But I had the pleasure of watching Jack Johnson run at Canandaigua. I mean, I remember those days.
Did you see him win there?
I'm sure that I did see him win there. Is it something that pops right to the top of my...
That's one of the few tracks I never got to see him win at.
But, Johnny Byrosh is always one of my favorites because, I would sit in the stands with his son, Greg, and as soon as the races were over, we'd beeline for the pits and, go in and pick on the hot tire and crawl in and over the car and, peel mud balls off of it. And,
Something tells me neither one of you guys are going to fit in a tire now.
we both actually fit in the car just fine.
I said tire.
They're not as open wheel as they used to be. And I don't know if that's because I grew or they just, got wider. But the guy I like watching the most right now that's active, Danny Johnson.
Canandaigua?
Yeah, that's come up on the live chat, too.
But do you know why I like watching Danny? Yeah, he's a Canandaigua guy. Take him anywhere. He's competitive, and he's won everywhere. It doesn't matter where he goes. And he puts on one of the best shows, and the guy that's not come up once, Stuart Friesen.
Okay.
True.
He hasn't come up once.
True.
I mean,
You're right.
And he, that's another guy that's been
or Andy Bicchetti for that matter, or Kenny Tremont.
Who?
There's so freaking many of them. You know who? I mean, there's Doug Hoffman, Billy Pouch,
Jimmy Horton.
I mean,
what do we just want to name
we
names
just
now?
Why are we
just get a
naming
freaking
names?
roster?
Why are we naming
What are we doing?
We don't
We
even.
were
Hey.
supposed to pick one favorite driver. We had to just running down the laundry
Hey,
list of all the drivers,
not-
everybody
I
who's ever
can't.
been in a car.
I can't.
I don't want to get off topic, but just for a
I
second,
don't
because
think it matters.
I just remembered. It just popped in my head. There
Okay,
was
when you
news,
finish this thought,
there was
when you
news
finish-
on Bobby Varon.
Okay.
He is driving the Atlas 66 in Orange County in 2013
kidding.
on Saturday nights. Yes,
That's cool.
Yes, he is.
per Max Phillips.
Why don't you do your sprint car pick now? And it can be any sprint car.
Malcolm Lane.
Good choice, Canandaigua.
Okay, Jack.
Wow. Sprint car for me, winged. My all-time favorite will always be Doug Wolfgang.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Currently, though, I mean, you want to talk.
Yeah, it's a Canandaigua guy, right?
Currently, yeah, they don't. Yeah, no.
I'm sure he's won there.
Currently, they. Yes, he has actually. Obviously, you guys know I'm big on Kyle Larson, Brady Bacon. Just to throw out a couple names there. I've always been. When Doug Wolfgang obviously got hurt, retired, whatever, and wasn't racing anymore, I switched over to Jack Hodenshield, and Jack's still racing here and there. He doesn't follow the outlaw circuit anymore full time, but he's still out there. So I'll always be a Hod fan. But
My favorite active guy, Tony Stewart. Wing sprint car.
Rico Abreu, non-wing. Is that your favorite driver? Non-wing?
non-wing.
Yeah.
Well,
it's Sonny's.
of course,
And
non-wing.
If you know what's good for you, you'll agree.
Non-wing. I've always liked Tony Elliott. Of course, my favorite is obviously J.J. Yaley. I mean, that's a given.
Oh, right.
Who?
He
Big-
drove those too.
Big Corey Kruseman fan. Again, Brady Bacon, because Brady goes back and forth.
Or,
wing, non-wing.
Oh,
So.
my favorite
Kyle
modified
Larson.
driver. How did I forget Jeremiah Shingledecker? He ended up last in the Dick Dragon Motorsports thing, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, last.
Yeah, dead last. 110th.
Baumus is pretty much anybody that races at the Chili Bowl fan.
Yeah. You didn't mention
Not-
any
No, that's
Swindell.
not true. I'm
You
not a
didn't mention
huge.
any
I'm not a
Swindells.
huge Swindell fan. I got to be honest. Never have been.
Well, it's
Son of a bitch has got that place figured out. But boy,
yep.
I'm not a
That's
huge
why the
fan.
name's on the check
Did
already.
you see the last name on the check? They already wrote it in.
Jesus.
No,
Sweet. 4
4
years in a row they won that freaking race.
And Chris,
now.
I don't know how it is for you, but being that you've been a part of the media and you've had the access to these guys,
Yeah.
it's so hard to just sit here and say,
Yeah, it's so hard.
I like this guy.
It's so hard to say, yeah, I like this guy because
Because I
next
like-
time you see somebody else, they're gonna kill you.
But that doesn't bother me. It's hard for me to just sit there and say I like this guy, and when in fact there's so many of them.
What we should have done is said favorite, without letting anybody know, favorite X Division driver go, and the first name that comes into your head is the one that you're going to gravitate to.
12A.
There, see, would have been easy. We didn't even have to ask John.
I will say to just cap off the whole Swindell thing. It's the old man I'm not a huge fan of. Kevin, I don't mind. Kevin's okay. The old man I'm not a huge fan of.
So you got a sprint car driver?
Tony Stewart.
That's what you're going with.
It's because he races Canandaigua once a year.
Yeah, another Canandaigua guy. Good choice.
And Jeremy Corcoran plowed in the ditch over in turn 3 and 4, so he won't try to kill himself over there next year. It's awesome. There you go.
Can't get out of Ontario County.
I almost shut both of you up. Why do I need to go out of Ontario County?
Oh, good Lord.
Answer that question.
Broaden your horizons.
I don't need to. I can read a paper.
Yeah,
Go on the freaking internet to get that.
John.
Huh?
John, do you know how hard it is to make it back in time for the birthday parties if he goes out of Ontario County?
Seriously.
He celebrated everybody in the county's birthday.
His son started.
Don't get mad because my son ages at 4 times the rate of everybody else. Okay,
he's got the old man disease.
I'm trying. I'm
disease.
just trying to keep his age up with his height and weight. Okay.
It's the start.
He's not going to keep up with yours.
It's the start of season 2. He was 3 years old. At this point, he's 25.
Yep. He's out of college now. Hopefully, he gets his ass to work soon and starts paying the bills.
Listen to him. He's putting the kid to work. What'd you do all week? You admitted I didn't do nothing.
I did nothing. Days. I went to school. That's it.
My favorite wing sprint car driver, hands down. Not even going to have to think about it, Bobby Perro. Rivaling that, Chuck Heaving, but Bobby Perro.
Non-wing?
Non-wing?
Who cares?
You don't even have one, do you?
Nope. I don't even know who runs it.
Levi Jones.
Okay, that's cool.
I'm not even going to pick one.
Why?
Tony Stewart.
Well, at least that's legit. He is a triple crown winner.
Triple crown champ.
He doesn't have any titles in wing sprint cars, so I'll give you that one. At least he's got championships in a non-wing sprinter.
I don't watch that crap. They don't run non-winged.
I don't watch that crap.
Hey, John, they don't run non-winged in Ontario County.
They have once. I was there
once, and it was probably the biggest piece of crap I've ever watched.
Well, that's because the track sucked.
Exactly.
It wasn't their fault.
Didn't Jones win that? He was in the Mopar car.
No, he didn't win that.
He did not.
That other guy did.
Yeah,
no, it was his first ever win.
Yeah,
it's the only USAC Sprint Car National Tour win.
Was it his first and last?
Yes.
I don't think he's ever won.
Justin Marvel, I believe it was.
Yep, that's exactly what it was because he climbed up on the flag
stand
like Spider-Man.
Yes, he did. I was there that day.
Oh yeah, he did.
I remember Corey Kruisman sucked that day too.
Those guys were all caught. Were you there?
I was there. Yeah,
I figured you would have stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning and watched on your computer.
Those guys were all caught off guard with the whole dry slick thing. They're used to banging off a cushion.
Yeah, welcome to New York.
Yeah, I know.
Are you familiar
That's why
with
they
the
never
term
came
dry
back.
slick?
You guys like asphalt?
Are you familiar with the term dry slick?
No. By the way,
not those guys.
No, they're not.
We were just John. I'm sorry, I woke you up, but we were just talking about.
Woke me up. What are you talking about?
We were just talking about wingless midgets, and you mentioned how they were used to banging off a cushion, and then Rich said, "Welcome to New York." To which
that was wingless sprints, by the way.
Right.
Now who's sleeping?
Just making sure you were still awake.
Now who's sleeping?
And then to that, to reference the dry slick tracks that we have here in New York, because we are still in New York. Ontario County is part of New York.
That's typical
did you know
New
that?
York track. Huh? What'd you say?
Never mind.
What'd you say?
To purposely change the subject.
What?
Eldora Truck Series.
Yeah,
we were going back. We were going back and forth last week.
Well, I don't think it's right to do this without Mike.
I do because
he doesn't like NASCAR. He doesn't need to be involved.
No, he doesn't. No. And it goes to a point we were talking about the points. It will be a full point show.
Right.
It will be a.
I said that
with
last
Heath's
week.
consolations and feature.
There's never been a question that it wasn't going to be a full point show. That was never going to be a question.
I think that was a topic that we brought up on our own.
You did.
If it would just be a show points or owners points or something like that.
Somebody mentioned they wished it was.
To allow.
But it's
not.
I must have been sleeping like you.
Somebody mentioned last week that they wished it was going to be, and I said no. It's
if it was just either just owner points or just show points or something to that effect, so that you would see more of those dirt track ringers come in. I guess Scott Bloomquist has been contacted.
Bloomquist has been contacted.
How cool is that?
By who?
I don't know. It was not.
Where'd you find that out?
He was at the PRI show down in Florida, and somebody had tweeted that he came from Scott's mouth that he'd been contacted by a truck team for that show.
We got
he ain't gonna be able to commit until he finds out what their schedules are like.
Pretty sure they're not out yet.
Listen, I'm pretty
the late
sure
model schedules have not been out yet.
I'm pretty sure that Bloomquist can commit to whatever he wants to because he usually chases money.
Lucas Oil Race series I think has released
that one's out.
Actually.
Yeah, but
the Outlaws which he doesn't care about the Outlaws.
He doesn't care
about any one. He cares about any of them.
As opposed to the Lucas. Yeah, but he's followed the Lucas Oil series last few years now.
But he has followed the World of Outlaw series in the past.
Yeah, but he left.
Right, and I think he's.
But the point is,
chasing big
recently
money now.
he's following the Lucas Oil Series. So if he continues to do that, he's going to have to wait and find out if they don't book against it. That's all.
We got about 10 minutes left before we got to get out of here. Leroy says it's probably a Roush truck for Bloomers. Just a guess. It's a good guess.
I would.
If
I had to make a guess,
mighty educated.
pretty good guesstimation there.
He does run Roush Yates Power under the hood. So.
Well, we stand corrected. Giving more credence to the gentleman who emailed before. Sonny reminds us Lucas put their schedule out yesterday, and World of Outlaws late model schedule is already out as well.
Oh, it is.
And she also clarified that Scott Bloomquist only jumps on Big Money shows. Question that came in on the live chat: if we're willing to talk about our favorites, it doesn't matter which division. Who is your least favorite driver?
Don Slover.
No, they said driver.
Mike shared his because he's in live chat. He can get on this stuff while we're talking. He said that his favorite driver in modifieds was Dave Lape. So growing up, his least favorite driver was Jack Johnson.
Well, that's of course. That's
no wonder
normal.
you two No wonder you two fight.
Growing up, I
here.
hated CD and Lape because I was a Jack Johnson fan. That's what you did. That's. Him and I have had this
least
discussion. That's what
driver?
you do.
Yeah. Are you daring to go out on this limb and pick one like this?
Oh, I'm. Let me rack my brain for a minute. I'll go
As
out
a
on
kid.
Well, if you got to think about it,
I mean,
I'll go out on a limb. I don't care.
if you got to think about it, then you don't have a least favorite.
Yeah,
that's because he loves all those Canandaigua guys.
Maybe
you can't hate anybody.
Maybe there's so many that I don't like. I got to pick one.
Yeah, you got to pick the one you got to
Didn't
carry out of the
McCready
pick
have a
taker, right?
rival?
You can't call anybody a rival when they're not beating them.
Well, I would say Brett Hurd and Alan Johnson would probably be in that mix at that time, and they're
Not a Canandaigua.
Yeah, but I
yeah, you're right, not there on the tour.
you know,
I mean, by far and away, when I was a kid growing up, and it's not the case now. We've had Alan Johnson on the show before, but that 14J, I did not want to see that 14J win because that was pretty much the rivalry at Canandaigua in that time frame was the 7X and the 14J back and forth.
What about currently? Anybody got any drivers they don't like currently? Or are you too afraid to say it?
I really can't think of any right now, and I don't want that to come up as political.
No, I can tell
Because
you. I can tell you. There's been times that I hate Stuart Friesen for some of his antics. I'm not trying to take away from the kid's driving ability. He's talented, but some of the crap that he's done is just outright candy ass. I mean, crawling out of your car and sitting on the roof.
Yeah,
not freaking smart. That's just
right.
That's being a goddamn baby. Give the kid a diaper.
I
shove
love
him
that.
back
That's
in the car.
One time in those circumstances
drive.
I actually agreed with what he did.
I'm not
I don't
saying
usually like that. But
I am not saying that I disagree with the fact that I think he was right.
He was right
in the fact that he got screwed.
He did.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He got hosed
big time.
Zip your damn pants up, tighten your belt, and go freaking race. You're in what, second place, third place now?
His pants never came down.
Sonny made a good point. Growing up, Brett Hearn was the least favorite pretty much globally. I mean,
yeah,
everybody kind of booed him because he
never.
Was
and I could have said Brett, but
Brett.
I stayed away from Brett because who liked him? I mean, he won everything.
He did every friggin' where you went.
It didn't matter where he went; he was going to win the damn race. So I mean, you could say the same thing about Will Cagle at a time.
Yeah. True.
I mean, and
I'm sure Buzzy Rudiman was in that spot.
Will Cagle.
I never cared for Cagle either. He's a miserable SOB.
Yeah, but I liked him because I never had to talk to him, so I didn't.
Congratulations to
he's
Stu and
miserable.
Jessica on their engagement, as it were.
Did they really?
Yes, they did. Actually,
how about that?
Yes, they did. I saw that on Facebook. I think.
Why doesn't Sonny ever come here?
I don't know.
We've mentioned it to her many times, but she
just doesn't like it.
Doesn't.
I mean, if she wants, we can just rig her up with a microphone, and if
gonna,
it's a camera issue, we'll just rig her up.
I
with
wanted
a
to bring the missus with me tonight, but she didn't get home from work before I left. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
Because
you should have brought her.
Because
I love
she wasn't home yet.
You want me to step back into the hated from
I'm going
Canada?
to see if she wants to come next week. Maybe
I got.
You want me to stay in Ontario County, John?
Yeah. Well,
Marcus Dinkins.
Really?
Yep.
Is there anything to do with the name?
By all means.
Nope.
By all means, elaborate on this.
The kid. No,
so that's two hatred he's thrown out. Slover and whatever.
Slover, I think that's.
And they're both Canandaigua guys, right?
Yeah, they are.
He can't get out.
Stewart wasn't.
Okay.
Friesen wasn't.
Okay, I'll give you one.
And let me tell you why. And it's not that I hate the kid personally, because there was a time when I had my sportsman car that him and his father did me very, very right. They helped me out. They got me going in the right direction.
And now you're throwing him under the bus?
No, I'm not throwing him under the bus.
Keep your eyes open. You're going to want that plate number. Here comes the bus.
It's a big truck. They did right by me, and I appreciate it. But flipping the other side of that coin, I've seen some poor driving that I'm not going to say the kid doesn't have any talent, but he's made some legitimate boneheaded mistakes, and I don't know if that's lack of experience or overconfidence. But what makes me say that, and it's not that I hate him personally. I hate, again, like Stewart, the antics after the fact. It's never his fault. He's gotten out of the car after getting in wrecks.
How could it be if he doesn't do anything wrong?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Rich.
I'm going back to Ontario County. This is bullshit. God damn it, John. No, I mean, and I like both him. I like his father, but when he's made some, I've been around racing for quite a few years, and some things are just plain to the eye.
How many years exactly?
Enough. And
throw a number out there.
I've been going to the track since I was 6 months old. So
how old are you now?
41.
Old enough.
45, right?
Not as old as you. But it's the activity afterwards. Being in the position that I'm at Canandaigua. If I'm the one that's got to deal with you, and it's like 3-4 weeks in a row, and your car is sitting in a heap in front of your freaking hauler.
Again
and again and again and again. Okay, enough.
Pay no attention.
Welcome to my dislike list.
Sonny said that he needs to control his temper, stop trying to run over his mother, and wipe his nose.
That about sums it up.
Wipe his nose?
Well, I had
got nasal drip?
I got poor Marcus wiping his nose, and I got Friesen wiping his ass. So,
yeah.
welcome to. I am about to become the newest pincushion wherever I go.
Right. I mean, in terms of drivers, I just get so bored of watching Billy Ducker win. So I will go out on that. But he's been on the show before, and I do like Billy as a person. I just get bored of watching him win races.
Yeah, I mean,
see, that never gets old.
On a page like what Rich brought up, and Ron Cartwright Jr. Oh my God, that dude used to drive me insane, and it wasn't even Ron himself. His dad used to drive me up the wall at Black Rock. But speaking of Black Rock, another driver that we overlooked, Ron White. Another dude to the 5W Mountain Dew car. He was a cool dude. I don't think he's racing.
I thought he was a comedian.
It's a different Ron White.
I think he is racing.
Is he?
I think so.
I'm not sure
I'm pretty sure I saw him at Black Rock at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah?
I've
lost track of him by a long shot.
Tim Sebring. Down at Black Rock.
Really?
I always... John... Would you turn his goddamn mic off?
Why?
Do everybody in the chat room a favor and mute Bahamas.
Why are you rolling your eyes this time?
I was just laughing because he can't get out of Yates whatever the hell county it is.
I don't
what
have
county
this show's based in the Finger Lakes. So probably most of the conversations are going to revolve around Yates and Ontario County racetracks.
Hey, John. Nobody gives a rat's ass.
It's a great big world out there.
No kidding.
Yeah, that was doing just fine before we brought up wingless midgets.
We didn't.
We did okay before we put your ass in a leather seat.
Here we go. Mike's weighing in on this.
Here we go. Now
it's real.
Talk about digress, man.
Oh, brother.
I think Daddy's gonna put.
Actually, Mike is coming down on you because you don't go anywhere.
That's right.
I don't care.
He might be coming down on me.
Hey, he did go to Super Dirt Week.
He's definitely.
He actually showed up at Fulton too.
And I'll be blatantly honest with you, I don't care.
Did you almost run somebody over?
When?
Wow. Hey, Alessandro. Hello from Alessandro in Italy. I guess I don't know.
Are they at F1 fan?
I guess so.
Monza?
Presumably.
They go to Monza?
Do you go to Monza? Hey, Alessandro. You go to Monza? Let's go.
Where are we
right
going
back
with this train wreck? Is a Ron White would say
I'm
all the way to the
find
crash
out,
site?
Torque Arm keeps talking about how somebody almost ran him over, and without really getting to the point of it, he just keeps talking about. I don't know.
Is that why he's got Torque Arm?
I guess maybe it was.
If they're insinuating that I've almost run somebody over
at Black Rock at the end of the year, it just happened.
Well, I haven't been in a car.
Okay. Well, that it's not you. Okay, that takes care of that. We finally put that.
Maybe they
rest.
mean your street car.
It's come up like 100 times.
I wasn't driving.
What about your Enduro car?
I didn't drive it this year. I've been behind the wheel of a race car once this year, and I didn't hit anything because they were all so far ahead of me it didn't matter.
So who's going to win the Baltimore race this weekend?
I don't even know who's in it. Indoor.
Nobody from Canandaigua.
Nope. No one. And I don't even. You and Malik can suck eggs for all I give a crap. I don't have to. I see a Super Dirt Car Series race every Saturday. You want me to tell you to go screw yourself? I mean, we can I can be as crass as you want me to be. I was trying to be remotely courteous with the microphone in my face.
It was Ryan Susie, I guess, that almost ran. I don't know. I'm trying to make sense of all this stuff, and it's
pay no attention.
It's a chat room. It's like any other forum on the planet. It's all horse crap.
So does anybody out there, since you guys don't know what the hell's going on, so does any of the listeners got an opinion who they think is going to win Baltimore on Saturday night?
I bet you the car.
No, they're all from Ontario and Seneca and Yates County. They don't give a crap.
I bet the car doesn't have a wing on it.
Yep, you're right.
Duh.
Ryan Susie, he's at the indoor race.
Yep.
Billy Pouch would be there.
Billy Pouch is another good pick too.
Freezing running?
I don't think so.
No, there's no roof. There's no roof to sit on.
I don't know. I haven't heard of him being there.
Joey Payne,
Joey
Payne's gonna be down there.
That'll be tough. Mike Titaback could be good.
I'll be honest with you. I've got very few interests in disciplines of racing.
You never went to the Niagara Falls races?
No.
That's out of the county.
I don't give a crap about wingless midgets. I don't give a crap about...
It's a TQ midget. That's all
I don't give a crap. It's still a midget. I don't give a crap.
It's a mini super modified.
Right, and I don't care about super modifieds. No. I really don't. I enjoy watching dirt track modifieds, Northeast modifieds.
At Canandaigua.
I don't care where you race them, John. I really don't. I don't need to leave my county because I get to watch a Super Dirt Car Series race every Saturday night.
How do you do that?
I go to Canandaigua and stay within Ontario County, jack off.
All right. Thanks so much for playing along. I'm going to go ahead and put a stop for this before we end up here until midnight. Thanks for joining us on this edition of the 31st Lap. We'll see you right back here next week when Greg Hodnett is on the program. When we welcome Mike back to the fold. Have fun in Baltimore.
www.fingerlakes1.com